wired. Yes. Yes. Oh, a little extra oomph there. A little extra oomph with the manual mouth guitar solo. It's a celebration. It's a celebration. Celebration that we are hosting the final waiver wired of the season. Week 14 is the final waiver wired of the season. Don't worry, don't fret. There will be plenty of waiver wire advice on top 10 takeaways, plenty of waiver wire advice in the Fantasy Empire show. Don't worry, we'll be here for you. But every week I look up and there's just a few less guys to talk about, and a lot of them are the same guys that we've been talking about, and it's like, okay, how long can we really do this show? For how many weeks? I don't know if I've ever done a Week 14 waiver wire show before. I know many of you doubted that there would be a show. I know that we've been streaming the show later and later every Tuesday. They used to, I think the first Tuesday, I think we did like a noon show, and I was so proud of myself. I was like, look at me preparing all morning for this show. We get plenty of time for everyone to listen to it. Now we're streaming at like 5:30 in the afternoon. It's like every week is a little bit later. 1:30, 2, 2:30, 3. Now it's just it's just not as many guys. It's like it's very strange. You have to understand. It's very strange to me. It's a very strange phenomenon that it's harder to prepare when there's fewer guys to talk about. I get really excited week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. Really, I mean, we have like a list of 20 running backs. Like we post the FAAB guidance on Patreon, patreon.com/podfather, and there's just a lot. And I get it done early because I'm excited about it. And now when it's like, oh, we're going to talk about Devin Singletary again. And is it Bam Knight or Michael Carter this week? And it's like, okay. But I feel good. I'm pumped. I'm pumped that when it's not easy and you get your list together and you're like, I'm pretty proud of this, you feel good. So off we go. We get the waiver wire advice for this week, week 14. And it's Motor. Of course it's Motor. Whenever a guy is carted off, a running back in particular, then his direct backup is very interesting. When it's a running back and it's a clear handcuff back behind him, it's even more interesting. The only twist is Devin Singletary's on a bye. But it's not a big deal because the vast majority of you have already if you're listening to this show, you've already locked up a playoff spot. Now, I get it. If you haven't locked up a playoff spot and you need to, then maybe Devin Singletary is not your number one priority this week. And I understand that. But the week 14 bye is so great for fantasy because a lot of us have already secured a spot. And then it's why drafting players with the week 14 bye is a micro hack. It's like, I'm going to be in the playoffs or not by that time. Most teams are either in or they're out of contention by week 14. So if you have a player who has a week 14 bye, it's a little edge. There's a little bit of edge there. There is just the slightest bit of edge. And those teams, just to remind everyone, are the great Carolina Panthers, which are surging. Good for them. The New England Patriots. Oh, the New England Patriots. They are looking like one of the best teams, if not the best team in the AFC. The Giants and the San Francisco 49ers, just another case to draft Christian McCaffrey before the season started, the week 14 bye. So get Devin Singletary. That offense with Jackson Dart is just better. And you see, Darius Slayton scores. No surprise. Why? Jackson Dart, man. Jackson Dart's a stud. Love Jackson Dart. The one eye black. Me and my daughter, we were watching the game last night. She's a big Patriots fan. She loves Drake May. She follows these Drake May fan accounts on Instagram because she, it's our secret. She's not allowed to have Instagram, but then she showed me the Drake May fan account. And I mean, what are you going to do as a dad, right? Are you going to get mad? Are you going to get, I mean, what, this trust with my wife and I. Lots of trust there, right? There's trust. There's a circle of trust, right? We're in the trust tree at all times. But I'm sitting there on the couch, and my daughter is eating popcorn, watching the Patriots with me, and then she confides in me, oh, I have a Instagram for this Drake May account, plus some other people at my school that I follow, and here's some funny stuff from the Drake May fan account, and it's very difficult, if not, in fact, it's not recommended. Why would I do that? Why would I can't. I'm a very lucky guy to have a daughter that wants to watch the Patriots with me on Monday night. So, hey, that's a homework-free zone. This is a tattling-free zone that we're in there in our little nest, our little football nest. That's right, the football nest in the mansion. So that was special. And hey, if my wife wants to listen to this show, she can figure it out. She could figure out that there's an illegal Instagram account in our house. If she wants to, feel free, honey, tune in, and then you'll find out. Otherwise, we're not, no tattletales. As long as it's in the Drake May account. If it were any other team, right? Oh, you're busted. But nope, it was a Drake May account. So Devin Singletary, for that reason, if this was earlier in the season, a player heading into a bye, but I mean, Tyrone Tracy was carted off. So running back carted off, handcuffed back, ready and waiting, was already splitting carries even before that. So easy layup for our first. I think you just put 90%. You don't need to go 100% of FAAB. Never do that. Always leave a little behind. Always leave a little behind in your FAAB. So 90% on Devin Singletary. And then Chris Rodriguez again, right? How many different ways can we talk about Chris Rodriguez? Chris Rodriguez is the primary back. Chris Rodriguez should have been the primary back in week 1 and onward. I don't know what the hell happened. He was playing that role in preseason, in camp. Somehow, Washington decided, we're going to roll with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who's not with a fragile starting quarterback, franchise quarterback, right? So we're going to put the least experienced pass blocker back there. See, I mean, I can't listen to how I sound. Listen to me. I sound like a 70-year-old coach who's now in the booth. I can't believe this. What's happening to me? But that was the one case where an explosive rookie, I was like, slow down. And now it's Marcus Mariota back there, and it's week 14, and Chris Rodriguez is still available in 50+% of Yahoo fantasy leagues. Now, I said before, it's possible you could see Chris Rodriguez rolling up 80 yards and a touchdown. We're going to revise that to 60 yards and a touchdown on a weekly basis, but that's a reasonable expectation against Minnesota. Pencil him in for 12 fantasy points plus, okay? Then it's Blake Corum. Blake Corum has been a top stash all year, but now that he's getting more carries, now that Kyren Williams is banged up, there was an ankle injury that's to be monitored. Remember, Kyren Williams has suffered ankle and foot injuries in the past. He was injury prone before he wasn't. So he was routinely injured and missing a lot of games early in his career with foot and ankle problems. And that's how he left the game. And we'll see. We'll see what happens with this. The Rams offense is back. And if you have Blake Corum getting 40% of the touches for a high-octane offense, that's reason enough to go and put, say, 50% of your budget down on Blake Corum in a deep league and make sure you get him. He's probably not available in deep leagues. And in shallow leagues, you probably only need like 20% to get him at this point, just because there isn't any certainty yet about Kyren Williams and what his status is. I'm going to be looking at the chat. The chat is something that we have underutilized on the Waiver Wired show. We've just had very ambitious agenda of players to talk about, but there have been a few occasions where when we went live and started recording, news had come out, and now I'm going to be paying attention, so maybe I'll be looking at the chat. Maybe there's more information that has come out in the last 30 minutes that I'm not aware of about Kyren Williams. Let us know, and then maybe easily... I mean, the problem is, putting anyone behind Blake Corum in terms of priorities is I really, if you want to win your league, shouldn't you have Blake Corum number one? Isn't that really what should happen? I mean, I'm embarrassed that I have him at 3. Why do I have him at 3? The guy is comparable to Javonte Williams. Think about it. If Kyren Williams misses time, he and Javonte Williams will have incredibly similar projected fantasy points. They play Arizona. They're 8-point favorites against Arizona, though Arizona is stingy with fantasy points allowed to running backs. I like Corum. He is an all-purpose back, and he is a one-for-one replacement for Kyren Williams should he miss time. Therefore, he has the most contingent upside of any of these guys. If you look at Motor's profile on Player Profiler. I mean, his athleticism is non-existent. He's in a worse offense. He doesn't have the explosiveness that even a Blake Corum offers. So, I mean, really, I should reprioritize this. And the more I think about it, the more it's clear to me that what we do on this show and what I've been talking about all year is contingent upside. Can this player win your league for you? Now, Devin Singletary as the full primary back in the Giants offense, very useful in an RB2 role. But Blake Corum, you could argue, is an RB1 in the Rams offense if Kyren Williams misses time. Therefore, there is more league-winning potential for Blake Corum. You can get him for less FAAB, but the priority is not about how much it takes to get a guy. The prioritization is how valuable is this asset. So I am going to, in real time, shuffle the order of running back priorities. It is Blake Corum number 1. It is Devin Singletary number 2. And it is Chris Rodriguez number 3. Chris Rodriguez does not have anything close to the ceiling of a Blake Corum. So I'm embarrassed that I ever even had Chris Rodriguez ahead of Blake Corum in terms of priority. I'm glad that we worked this out together. I'm really happy we were able to work this out in real time. It's got to be Corum. You could save money. You could save FAAB money. Whatever you have left. Let's say you have 20 out of 100 left. You could put 10 on Corum instead of having to put like the 18 down on Singletary to even be in the game for him, and you probably not get him anyway. You will get Corum, though. It's very possible you get Corum, especially if waivers run tonight. A lot of these leagues, though, the waivers run, Wednesday, 6 p.m. When I used to manage a lot of leagues, that's what we did. We did Wednesday, 6 p.m. If anyone's interested in my opinion of when waivers should run, I believe waivers should run Wednesday, 6 p.m. That's my preferred time, because then you actually have the ability to process the practice reports and more news comes out. You have a whole 12 extra hours of potential news, maybe even 18 extra hours. Some of these leagues, they run their waiver wire at midnight on Tuesday night. So last minute shuffle, Blake Corum, number 1 priority, baby. Number 1 priority. Then it's Michael Carter. Now, the reason it's Michael Carter over Bam Knight is that Michael Carter outsnapped Bam Knight a couple weeks ago. Bam Knight leaves the Week 13 contest, did not return, had a knee injury coming in. Meanwhile, Trey Benson is at risk of landing on season-ending IR after he practiced once and did not practice again last week. So there's speculation that there's been an aggravation to both the Trey Benson injury and the Bam Knight injury, leaving Michael Carter as like the last man standing, has an all-purpose skill set, not an impressive athlete, but will get the job done, will be active on third down, 2-minute drill, which is as 8-point dogs this week, that he'll likely be the beneficiary of a negative game script. So for a bunch of reasons, I like Michael Carter. There, you only need to put like a couple percent down to get him in a shallow league, maybe 10% in a deep league. Just make sure you outbid the super savvy managers in your league. But that's really the 4 running backs that I think can make an impact this week. Other than Devin Singletary, who's on bye, if Rodriguez, Corum, and Carter can make an impact this week. Then there's Keaton Mitchell. Keaton Mitchell is suddenly a priority ad. He's active in the passing game. He looks like he would be the clear primary back if Derrick Henry misses time. Am I the only one that thinks Derrick Henry looks super sluggish out there? I don't know why that the broadcast booth is not mentioning this more. Whenever you see Baltimore and you're watching Baltimore on the Red Zone channel, they don't bring this up. It's like, oh, big dog. It's like, this guy looks like he's running in cement. That's because he doesn't have a running back body. He has the body of an edge rusher, right? Some of these edge rushers, you want them to be 6'2", 250 with explosiveness to be able to jump up and bat down passes. And that would be his ideal role. But he just happens to be such a freak that he could play running back, and it's amazing when you have that fast twitch muscle fiber and you can pull that off, the lateral agility at that size. But then you turn 30, and we knew at some point it was going to be over, and it would be over quickly for Derrick Henry. His career's not quite over yet, but man, does he look sluggish. Keaton Mitchell is an interesting ad right now. You can put like 5% down in a deep league and scoop him. There's some sneaky value there. Brian Robinson's on bye too. We talked about that, but he's always someone to stash. But you can wait till next week to stash him if he's still available. And then you've got Algier, Bigsby, Malik Davis, Ray Davis. It's all the same guys. Xavier Scott is the new name. Xavier Scott's the new name in the scoop and stash department at running back. And that's it. Wide receiver is a little more exciting than running back, and we'll get into it after this. Let me ask you a question. If you had one player to pick, one player that's going to go off, go nuclear this week, who would it be? And on Better Picks, that's all you need to do. They have a free player waiting for you in the app. You just log in and you see, okay, who is the free mystery box player that I get to ride this week? So download the Better app. Use promo code PlayerProfiler and watch your lineups cash. Maybe. Anyway, it's easy. It's free. And speaking of free, Better also gives you $10 of promotional funds. No deposits required. And Better has the highest multipliers in the game. 10,000x. It's crazy to even say it. It's wild. They let you win up to 1,000x on any 2 picks with their mystery multiplier. This big bang for your buck. It's simple. It's easy for beginners. So click the link in the description of this show. Better Picks. Sports just got better with code PlayerProfiler. Wide receiver. Fun to watch everyone start talking about Jaden Higgins as a waiver wire option. The mainstream analysts, the shallow league experts start talking about Jaden Higgins, and it's like, hey, how many times do we have to share the Jaden Higgins profile and talk about Jaden Higgins? Even when he doesn't get the targets, he gets the touchdowns, right? That's what we're talking about. Mr. Jaden Higgins is the number 1 priority for the 3rd straight week. I don't know how many weeks we need to do this for Jaden Higgins. Let's go. Oh, we have the wrong matchup there. On the screen, The matchup should be Kansas City. That's very different than Indianapolis. The matchup last week was better. Unfortunately, it's Kansas City this week, but Kansas City does like to lock down the alpha wide receiver. Technically, that is still Nico Collins for now. For now. Man, have I been impressed with Jaden Higgins. Remember when it was a conversation between Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel? No longer a conversation. The upside was always with Jaden Higgins as the look, the feel, the body type, the athletic profile of a true alpha wide receiver. I don't love him this week. I love him as an add and stash. If he's still available, you add him, you don't play him, you have him for the playoffs. That's the reason that you're picking up Jaden Higgins this week. You're adding him for the playoffs. Then there's Adonai Mitchell. I mean, thank God, right? Sometimes your plays of the week don't work out that well. If you're on Patreon, you know that I did post my plays of the week on Patreon, but I was not at a place where I could broadcast them. So we will be doing the plays of the week for the remainder of the year, even if the Waiver Wired show is coming to an end this week. Plays of the week goes on and on and on and on, and there's always something to look back at, even when there's more misses than hits with the sleeper plays of the week. This week, the one that made me happy, the guy that I was most proud of, Adonai Mitchell. Adonai Mitchell was Adonai Mitchell over John Mechie, I thought was a debate for sure, but the upside was clear with Adonai Mitchell. He was dominating the air yards, and I'm like, what am I missing here? He's just not getting the touchdowns. Since when are we chasing wide receiver touchdowns? John Mechie, get out of here. Adonai Mitchell. I don't know what happened with Adonai Mitchell in Indianapolis. I don't understand it. I know they have Alec Pierce, and they said, hey, Alec Pierce plays that role, and there's really not a lot of room here for Adonai Mitchell. We're going to go ahead and extend Alec Pierce, and Adonai Mitchell doesn't have a role in this team moving forward. Maybe there was a clash in the locker room. Maybe there's a personality conflict with the coaches. I don't know why. He's a good player. He's clearly explosive. He's clearly doomed with bad quarterback play. Imagine Adonai Mitchell on a team like the Chiefs. It'd be very exciting, but that's not where he is. He's on the Jets, and Garrett Wilson's going to be back. So longer term, don't love it for Adonai Mitchell, but I like him for now. I sure like him for now, and I like him this week. I like him next week. I like him every week. Do I like Adonai Mitchell? Very much so. And, John Mechie, I know that he came back from cancer, and that's tremendous. I'm really happy for him. He's also on a new team. Houston had no more use for John Mechie. So it's a fun... See, when you watch the Jets, it's fun to see guys that weren't even on the team in training camp kind of coming together, the cast-offs, the team that's in tank mode. They're just trying to be competitive because that's what NFL teams do. That's what makes the NFL better than the NBA. With the NBA, you can't tell whether it's the guys are tanking because the coaches want them to tank or the ownership wants them to tank. You know, the equity holders are saying, hey, we need losses so we can maximize our lottery capital, or are they intentionally trying to throw games? We have no idea what's going on in the NBA or what the motivations are. In the NFL, there's no question. These guys are warriors. They are operating more like soldiers than these individual operators, right? They are a team. You are out there for your brothers, right? For your teammates, for the guys in the locker room, the guys that you're practicing with, the guys you're sweating with, that you're in the mud battling with, week in, week out, playing through injuries, and there's just not the room to tank. Now, there have been coaches, there have been equity holders, Stephen Ross most famously, right? This is the fun thing about when you talk about events of the past with a son or a daughter, And you're like, there was a team owner that was paying the coach to lose games. And then they lost their first round pick over it. And they can't believe it, right? Kids, they can't believe that happened. And they think that that's like an old timey thing. And I'm like, no. That was like 5 years ago. That was recently that happened. And yet it doesn't work. Rick, it doesn't work. You can't just command an NFL team to lose games. They fucking refuse because they're in it together for one another, and they only have a handful of games left on the schedule in order to put game tape out there so that they can earn their next contract. They have a couple years in the league that they can make all their earnings for their career to set themselves up. The last thing they're going to do is go ahead and intentionally play badly, play poorly. That can happen. I'm sure it has happened, but it's so much rarer in the NFL. The games have so much more integrity because there are so many fewer of them. So we have much fewer games. Each game means a lot more in general to every player and every team. And the dynamics of these teams, where it's really the locker room has a lot of say in what happens, who plays, who doesn't play, how hard people play. It's really about the heartbeat of the locker room determining the outcome of these games. And that also means they're much more exciting, where in any given week, you're like, wait, Tennessee's in this ball game. The Saints have entered the red zone. The Jets have somehow took this thing into overtime. How the hell does this happen? This is just one of the beautiful things about the NFL that was not necessarily by design. It's just the way things have worked out is the game integrity. And you see it with the Jets better than almost any other team, where they're playing Miami and it's they're 3-point dogs. No one has any idea what's going to happen in that game, right? No one has, and it should be that the Jets should be bending their will to lose that game. It should be so, but no, you can't go into that game thinking, oh, the Jets they're incentivized to lose, so there's no way. No, that's not how it works. So anyway, as someone who has been full-time, deeply involved in covering the NFL for now 10 years, it's just situations like what we see with Adonai Mitchell last week. It's like, this is why. This is why we love this sport. There's no other sport like it. There's nothing like what it's just third, fourth, fifth chances. And it's like, you see Adam Thielen announcing his retirement, and it's like, do you think he wants to retire? Absolutely not. He wants to play, and it's a big deal, and the team treats it like a big deal, even though his team is going nowhere, and he's no longer relevant. There's just something special about the NFL, the ceremonial nature of some of these events, and the way these players can move teams and resurrect their careers. It's just super cool. And Adonai Mitchell, I respect the hell out of him. 19 targets in 2 weeks. He's one of the NFL leaders in air yards right now, so just another reason to get on board. Jaden Reed, check, just make sure that Jaden Reed's not available out there. Guy looks good. Right, Jaden Reed he's a good player. I would put like 3% down. He's not available in deep leagues, but in shallow leagues, you can put 2-3% down on Jaden Reed. He's very interesting. You can also stream Dontavian Wicks this week. I think he's a desperation streaming option. The one guy I really want to talk about today, though, is Isaac Tesla. He's fun. He's got a cool bandana with just elite level athleticism. He's a big play guy. They get Dallas this week. No Amon-Ra St. Brown, most likely. I don't know what's going to happen with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown finds a way, but I don't think so. I think Amon-Ra's not going to play. He's such a warrior. I feel so bad for him. It's just another one of those examples. We just talked about this. Like, who exemplifies this ethos of the NFL. It is Amon-Ra St. Brown, and yet now it's like next man up. That's the other thing with the NFL. It's all about next man up, and that next man up is Isaac Tesla. There's a lot of upside here. I probably have him too low. Maybe we need to real-time adjust. I think we do. I think that Isaac Tesla has as much contingent upside, if not more. There's conceivably more contingent upside for Tesla than even Jaden Higgins. I mean, who is better positioned right now to potentially seize a role? It's not like Jameson Williams is going to crush, right? Jameson Williams is a target, deep target specialist, right? He is not a target share specialist. That was Amon-Ra St. Brown. So Jameson Williams, he's probably going to cap out around 20-22% target share at the very most. That leaves a lot of room for a lot of other players. I'm not saying Tesla is better than Jameson Williams, but there's a lot of targets and a lot of defensive attention that is vacated by Amon-Ra St. Brown. The defensive attention, where does it go? It's going to go to Jameson Williams, and that's just yet more opportunity for Tesla to really do something. I like it. I think that it makes sense to put Tesla ahead of Jaden Reed even. I don't think we can put him ahead of Adonai Mitchell. No, we're not going to do that. Check Patreon, patreon.com/Podfather to see exactly where I end up putting him. But Tesla is very interesting. I think of all these guys, though, the one guy I think that's usable on Fast Draft this week in the Flex 6 Frenzy is going to be Adonai Mitchell. But Tesla, though, I don't know. Tesla, I say that, and then I'm like, well, I can see people drafting Tesla in round 6. Absolutely. It's just when target conservation meets explosive athleticism, I'd put 5% down in a deep league, if not more. Maybe go up to 10% if you think you're in a very competitive league and you want to get Tesla. I would secure him. Those are the big four in terms of players that are available on Yahoo. I would say Higgins, Mitchell, Tesla, and then Jaden Reed. Then we have a couple more. I'm trying to find. I was able to find 6 running backs, 6 receivers that we could actually bid on this week in FAAB bidding. 2 receivers that I don't love, but I want to talk about. One of them is Devon Vele. He's the big beneficiary of the Shaheed trade. Target share spiked to 25%. And he's also he's exciting. He's exciting. I like him. I like his vibe. I like his whole thing. I like his whole aesthetic. I like Vele a lot. I just don't like the team. Though I will say, Tyler Shuck's playing better. He is. Shuck is playing better. And that is something. That is something. We're going to talk about you know what? We'll talk about quarterback streaming right now. I always complain. I think we went, 13 weeks? Always closing the show out with a wet fart of streaming quarterbacks that no one wants to hear about. We'll get it out of the way right now. My streaming quarterback of the week is Tyler Shuck. Yes, Tyler Shuck. The New Orleans Saints are playing the Buccaneers. They're at the Buccaneers. I like that. I like Shuck at the Buccaneers this week as a streaming option. He's getting better. Now I know what happened last week with Cam Ward. I get it. Oh, Cam Ward's taking steps forward. Oh, take a step back. Tyler Shuck taking steps forward. Oh, step back. No. Tyler, well, not no. Maybe. Right? We'll see. But I think that this is a situation where they're going on the road. They're not going to be able to run the ball. Shuck's going to throw a pick or two, but he's also going to put up 200-plus yards. And hopefully Vele, maybe a little Shuck Vele desperation streaming stack. Save all the money, right? The problem is you can't save money in DFS by playing Shuck and Vele to play McCaffrey because McCaffrey's on bye, sadly. But that is the reason, right? Because Shuck is improving, and Vele actually has a real role, a featured role on this team. I have him ahead of Pat Bryant. I've seen Pat Bryant a lot higher. I've seen Bryant ahead of Tesla. I've seen him ahead of Vele. No. I get it. Like, he broke the 75% route participation rate in week 13. I get it. Cortland Sutton looks washed. He's fading fast. But Pat Bryant is not that interesting. He is a sort of cardboard cutout possession receiver. He's never going to be a big-time fantasy asset. This is a time if you could somehow move him in Dynasty, if there's no trade deadline, or this is a guy I would think about trading, Pat Bryant, right now, or next week. But it's longer term. Get out of here. No, this is a classic guy that is he's in a moment in time, and trade him in Dynasty. Get rid of him. But you can still pick him up now in seasonal leagues. He still could be useful in the fantasy playoffs. If he keeps getting this route participation, he keeps performing, then you might be able to find in a deep league as a flex option in the playoffs. He could be useful. But classic guy to flip if you have him in Dynasty, because he's just does not profile as an alpha. He's basically the anti-Jaden Higgins, right? The anti-Jaden Higgins. So in the chat, I see you, Brendan. I thought Bryant had potential. He does have potential. He does have potential this year. And maybe he has a little bit of potential next year, but this is the classic story, right? This is the classic story where, Adonai Mitchell to me is more interesting, both in the coming weeks, but also longer term. There's just a little more explosive upside there, whereas Pat Bryant, he doesn't have the size, doesn't have the athleticism. Maybe. He's, what was he, 6'2", 200 pounds, runs a 4.6, best comparable to Cordarrelle Hodge. But if you need a win, they're playing Vegas this week, you could do a lot worse. But this is a classic hit and flip, late season wide receiver. Also, he's not better than Troy Franklin, right? If they move on from Sutton, they're going to add another receiver, and he's already not better than Troy Franklin. So I'm just not sure what the ultimate upside is for Pat Bryant. Well, I am sure, actually. It's not high. If you're streaming, we talked about Dontavian Wicks, Luther Burden, DK. DK is just a better streaming option. He can actually hit. He can give you a spike week where A.O. Manor just cannot give you spike weeks. Xavier Smith is suddenly interesting, and that's pretty much where it ends. Jalen Coker is on bye. I would be much more interested in Jalen Coker if he were not on bye. I think he's a fun stash. He should be, because he's on bye, widely available. Stash Jalen Coker now if you can. At tight end, I can't believe Brenton Strange still available. I would go to like 15% on Brenton Strange, 20% in a deep league. But I don't think he's going to be available in deep leagues. He's pretty much a shallow league guy, 5%. That should secure Brenton Strange. Every week, he's either the leading receiver or he scores a touchdown. And suddenly Jacksonville is a juggernaut. I don't know how this happened. And it's not even because Trevor Lawrence is playing that well. How does this... See, this is the other thing about the NFL. How can you even explain some of these outcomes that you're seeing? The Patriots have a much better record than the Bills. How is this possible? Darren Waller's a good option. Harold Fannin I have behind Darren Waller. So if I'm prioritizing, I think Strange is the obvious, and most people, he's not available. Darren Waller is more available. I prefer Waller to Fannin, even though Fannin gets to play Tennessee this week. Look at the point total. It's 33.5. What? It's gross. It's gross. Fannin is amazing, right? Fannin is great, but Shedeur Sanders, I tried everything to try to talk myself into Shedeur Sanders as a streaming option this week. I couldn't do it. You got Shedeur Sanders in a 33.5 point total. I'm not excited about Harold Fannin. As great as he is, that's a guy that you should be trying to add. It's only up from here for Harold Fannin. His team situation can only get better. He himself can only get better as a blocker, as a route runner, everything. He's only going to get better and better from here, and the team is only going to get better and better. So he really is very much the anti-Pat Bryant, in that if you could somehow flip Pat Bryant for Harold Fannin, that's not possible in Dynasty. Harold Fannin is simply more valuable. You can check our Dynasty rankings to see just how much more valuable. But that's a classic type where, okay, everything is a headwind for Harold Fannin, and he's producing at a nominal rate in spite of that. That is the perfect guy to add in Dynasty to buy high. It's like he's had a breakout rookie year, and I want to add him. As a desperation stream, Darnell Washington, out of nowhere. Out of nowhere, because you're like, oh my God, it's an embarrassment of riches. They trade for Jonnu Smith. They already had a Pat Freiermuth, and suddenly it's Darnell Washington. Darnell Washington was an exciting prospect, size, speed specimen. I could see streaming him. I would add him absolutely in a deep league. Oh my God, I would add him. Tight end premium. Darnell Washington is the one getting the snaps, and he's a threat in the red zone. Unfortunately, we're talking about Mason Rudolph here, and we don't know what Aaron Rodgers' status is. So I would have been a little more bullish on Darnell Washington. There was even an argument to put Darnell Washington ahead of Harold Fannin, but it's like, hey man, his situation's not much better, so you're going Fannin. And then in terms of Superflex stashes, potential streaming options at quarterback, I'm so happy for this guy. And I know he's not the most dedicated football player. That's clear by now, right? He got there with his athleticism. But at this point, if you're a size speed specimen, and that's what gets you drafted in the top 10 in the NFL, in his case, top 5, and you get flushed out and you've bounced around the league, typically at this point in your career, you're 5 years in, it's over. You're done. You're in the CFL or you're retired. No. Trey Lance is looking like a starting quarterback for a team that has quality receivers, a good offense. Trey Lance is suddenly very, 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 very interesting. I think he is a guy to pick up in all formats because he has incredible mobility. We don't know what's going to happen with Justin Herbert. Trey Lance is a guy that I'm very excited to pick up. There's still some uncertainty and doubt. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. FUD. Right? There's so much of that with Trey Lance that he has been dismissed, and it is easy to forget that this is a player who ran for over 1,000 yards in college and was a run-first quarterback early in his career. They have a terrible offensive line, which isn't even necessarily a negative for Trey Lance. That just means he's going to be forced to scramble more. If you jumped on Jackson Dart, even if you had a quality quarterback, a buddy of mine had Lamar Jackson, deep league, 16 teams. Jackson Dart was available. I said, get Jackson Dart. Anything can happen with Lamar. Did I see Lamar just not being good? No, I saw Lamar getting hurt, a wrist injury, ankle injury, whatever it would be with Lamar every year, something. You're going to need or want Jackson Dart. Just get him. This is a mobile quarterback, and he's kind of a swashbuckling guy. Trey Lance, I'm not saying he's Jackson Dart, but no matter who your quarterback is, Trey Lance is worth a stash. And at this point, you can start to trim your bench down a little bit, right? And make room for one Trey Lance. From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the host, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.